Got a great group here today. Appreciate everyone being here. We'll get started in just a minute. Still people trying to get into the room. Always get the several emails and text messages beforehand of folks that are going to be running late or can't make it today. So appreciate you all making the effort to be here. Got a great presentation. I'm excited to learn more about this. I'm actively trying to rebuild some more outreach campaigns of my own for some projects, and so I'm excited to hear about what Colin will be covering with us today, and how to put some of these strategies together for us. Get started here in just a minute. So let me put something else here. All right. More people in the room. Excellent. Well, again, appreciate everyone being here today. Got another technology solution that I'm investigating. We're about to launch this for all of our community pharmacy partners. I'm going to ask though if it's going to be available to other small businesses, because we when we're marketing, we're trying to need that. All right. Whenever we're working with small businesses, the pharmacies in my case, they are trying to wear a lot of hats, and it's hard to be good marketers. I've found that, especially with our community pharmacy partners, these are some of the smartest people I've ever worked with. They know so much about science and biology and chemistry and pharmacogenomics. They're horrible at marketing. And so trying to help them be better at outreach, and when they use our program, they're always so excited about the reimbursements they get when they can use our program. And so they're always asking, how do we get more of those claims? How can we get more workers' compensation? And I'm like, you absolutely have to let your providers know that you are a solution. Send their patients to you. You can take care of them, no hassle, no delays, no out-of-pocket expense. And you just have to do some outreach. And every time they actually do that and go detail the physicians, they see an increase of about 15% increase in new patients and new claims volume when they actually do it. So looking at this technology to help them do that a little easier, and so I'm going to check with the founders of the technology, see if it's going to be available for any small business to use, even though it's developed for a pharmacy hub. But it's basically all of the digital platform that we all use in email campaigns and email outreach, for social media, for web, not just web development, but web management as well. So if you think of all these subscriptions that I know a lot of us pay for, so Constant Contact, Sprout Social, if anyone's familiar with that, it kind of, you can plan out your social media posts and have them post at certain times. They're all extra subscriptions. Well, this platform has brought it all into one CRM, if you will, for one subscription price. So you're basically getting 5 or 6 different solutions all in one package. And so I think it's going to be a beautiful program for my clients, my pharmacy clients, but I'll also see if it's going to be available to other small businesses that are not in the pharmacy space. So that's kind of a long introduction to tell you that what Colin is going to cover today is really now getting to the meat of how to set up the whole outreach campaign. And it doesn't matter if it's physicians that you're detailing, if it's patients that you're trying to communicate with. It could be, you know, this strategy can be used on any of our client bases that we're trying to stay connected with, and offer solutions to. And so I'm really excited about the presentation today. But let's go ahead and get started so we can jump into that presentation. So welcome everybody. Appreciate you being here. My name's Breck Rice, if you don't know that. I started this over a year ago, really here in Arizona, to kind of network with some of the small business owners here in Arizona, and it certainly has expanded out from here. So excited to have everyone that is joining today from the different parts of the world that you're in. You know, I think my newsletter goes out to over 150, it's like 160 some odd people now, all different professional backgrounds, you know, lawyers and scientists and professors and PharmDs from my, you know, industry, and PhDs and entrepreneurs, a lot of business leaders, coaches, a lot of coaches, financial services. So some really amazing professional people that are part of this group now. And so I appreciate everybody and their participation in it. And I love to give referrals. And so that's kind of the whole benefit of this group getting together and you know, learning from each other, learning more about your products and services and what you are an expert at, but then also getting to know you better, because when you know, like, and trust people, then you feel more comfortable giving referrals that way. And you know, I've kind of lived by the teaching that I learned from Zig Ziglar so many years ago, that you'll get all you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so that's why we call this a mastermind referral group, is that we really do want to come together and give each other referrals. So couple of housekeeping tips. We moved Colin up today. He was going to present next week, and moved him up this week so that I could fit in Preston for next week. So Preston Rose will be presenting to us next week, and then we're going to hear from our friend Patrick over the pond on the 9th, and then Mike Hayes, who couldn't be here today, will present to us on November 16th. We'll take the 23rd off. It's Thanksgiving. Hopefully you all spend some time with your family, and then we'll get back together on November 30th with a presentation from Sebastian. So I appreciate everyone again being here, and would love to, let's make sure that you can share. Okay, so Colin, you are able to share your screen now, and looking forward to your presentation, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Breck, and thank you everybody for being here today. I am going to be sharing with you an email outreach strategy, and with some specific execution elements to it, but that, like Breck said, can be applied to almost any business and almost any kind of offer and value proposition. My background, and I'll present here in a second, but my background, I spent the majority of my career in the advertising and marketing services world, and on the agency side, worked with literally hundreds of clients from Main Street to global, from you know, consumer packaged goods to high tech, and you know, services and software as a service, etc., and infrastructure, etc. And it's got a ton of experience in all facets of the demand generation, sales conversion, and customer lifetime value optimization. So, you know, creating a value across the entire customer journey, so to speak, from a marketing and sales perspective. Kind of gives you a little bit of background where I've come from. This year, I've spun out a consultancy and a coaching practice. And now I'm actually working as what I call a profit finder coach. And I help business leaders and business owners identify and maximize profit that's hidden and unlocked in their business that maybe is overlooked. And for the most part, that's around how they position their products and services and how they go to market. So being able to open up new channels, being able to improve and increase the conversion, being able to attract and connect with better customers, right? So those are some of the things that I do. I just kind of give you a little bit of background, but like I said, today this presentation is specifically about this email strategy. So, and I'm going to be informal. When I put this in presenter on my screen, I can't see you guys, so I'm just gonna go like this. And if you guys are offended, tough cookies. You're gonna have to get over it. We will have time. I believe at the end for a Q&A. And just so you know, I am open to working with and coaching with any of you. At least doing one session complimentary. And but you guys can also sell this idea to this strategy to your clients as well. So we'll just dive into that. So I'm calling this the sales acceleration email strategy. And I just walked through. Hold on a second. A little bit about that. Okay, so what's in it for you, and the reason that this makes sense is that this strategy can actually increase new prospect conversion, can actually attract new prospects that maybe are not in your queue or in your selling cycle just yet, but more importantly, can reactivate lapsed or inactive customers, can help you upsell your existing customers to a new offer, and potentially activate hesitant prospects. So people that are in your marketing database that maybe have shown interest but have not yet moved. And then lastly, it can actually help you engineer an ongoing customer ascension model. If you'd like to talk more about what that means, we can talk later or individually. So here's how it works. I've been inspired. I'm sure some of you have seen some of his work, but Alex Hormozi has been out there and doing some amazing work. But he wrote this book called $100 Million Offers, and he articulated in that book, what our job is as marketers so good that it's become kind of like a call to arms for me, which is make an offer so good that my prospecting customer would feel stupid saying no. And how we do that are the components of creating an irresistible offer. And again, this itself is a whole masterclass. We could talk about this for your particular business or your client's business, how we take the component parts of their value proposition and their product or service and mold them into an irresistible offer. But in general, what we're talking about here is creating an offer that is differentiated from your core business offer, something that is unique and special, that potentially has a few moving parts, meaning additional parts. And so there's added value, and potentially there's additional motivations or reasons to move forward or to take advantage of the offer. A couple of highlights here, right? These are the elements, right? Bold promise, how you deliver it, an interesting, compelling name, benefits, price contrast. Now I'll talk a little bit about that. Bonuses are critical, and you don't have to call them bonuses, but they can be additional features or additional service offerings, but something to increase the value of that offer. Of course, reasons to act now, risk reversal. And that can not necessarily just be a guarantee or a money back kind of scenario, but it also can be elements of increasing confidence and trust. So increasing your authority, increasing the value that the purchaser will get from taking advantage of your offer, etc. And of course, an easy way to buy. So those are the core elements. The most important thing here, and I want to call this out, is price contrast. So ideally, and many of you may have heard about this, but wherever it's actually introduced in the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, if you don't have the book and you're a marketer, that might be an interesting read for you. But in that book, he talks about contrast as a persuasion communications tool. And in this scenario, it's called the Livingston value equation. But the idea is to create the perception of value higher than your price. And ideally, right, there's kind of a sweet spot that, and you've seen this, you guys have been through, I'm sure, some of these sales cycles, but where you create at least a 10 times perception of value versus your price. It seems to be like a tipping point where you can, people will, feel like, okay, it's worth it, to take advantage of the offer if they've been hesitant. Okay. So that's not completely mandatory, but the idea, I want to impress this upon you, the idea is to create some kind of value to price contrast. So the value of what you're offering is higher than the price demonstrably, right? So that there's that sense that there's real value from the perception, from the point of view of the customer. So that's that. So the strategy and how I would recommend you think about implementing this is pretty straightforward, right? First step is to segment your list. And if you don't have a list, right, then it could be that you reach out to, in this particular case, people who are in your target market who would have a high likelihood of converting into potential customers. But in this case, I would suggest, like I said, active buyers, lapsed buyers, and non-buyers is maybe 3 buckets. And you can create separate offers for each one of them, or you can test. Like you might actually test this strategy into non-buyers because it's low risk. They haven't bought anything yet. Whereas then you might want to adapt it for your active buyers. It might be a different offer. It might need to be presented in a different way. But again, here I would suggest that you think about your list in those 3 kind of core buckets. Then you obviously need to go through the process of creating an irresistible offer, or an offer that has that that value to price contrast. And then the next step is to execute a 5-part 5-day email sequence. And the big strategy here that's unique is that the email strategy, and I'll walk you through this, but the email strategy is designed to appeal to the 4 primary buyer types, and we'll walk through that. The universal buyer types, and again, the idea is that it's done in a compressed enough time that the messages are self-referencing, and there's momentum in the messaging. And what you do is you reach within your list, you're going to reach each of these buyer types in a nice compressed timeline. And I will share with you a Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy, how you could use this. I know it's just around the corner, but something like this could be, it depends on, how you go to market or how your clients go to market, but there might be an interesting application there for you. And but the bigger point here is that you can implement this, and some of the people that you have used this strategy use it on a regular basis, like on a pretty routine quarterly basis. They'll do this, it's called like a fast cash acceleration. It's not necessarily a sale. It's not necessarily published. It's directed to these specific buyers, but like on a quarterly basis, you might send out this little sequence. Okay. Now, by the way, the strategy can be applied to any other sequence as well. You can break this. You could apply the strategy of working toward the universal buyer types to any of your email sequencing. So that's just a high level view of the strategy. So here's how those 4 buyer types break out. So I'll just walk through them very quickly, and then I'll talk about how we applied it. So spontaneous are buyers that basically when they see something new, I'm one of these buyers where I see something new, I see something interesting, it seems like it has a lot of value, I'll take advantage of it, I'll actually give it a try, especially if there's good risk reversal. Within every single group of potential customers, there are spontaneous buyers. And by the way, buying doesn't necessarily mean a full transaction. This could be sign up for a webinar, or come to an event, or even join a group, right? So it's just, the offer can be varied. It doesn't necessarily have to, involve, a final transaction. It can be, applied to any sort of selling model. Okay, number two, second is methodical. And the methodical buyer is one, and again, you might identify with this, where you need more information. It's great that there's a fantastic offer. You're interested, but you have a couple of questions. And so with the methodical buyer, we need to kind of approach it from being able to answer questions and be proactive in helping them solve any issues or questions they have. The third buyer type is what's called humanistic, and these buyers are looking for connection and are motivated and take action based on seeing themselves in your marketing and your communication, and actually recognizing and feeling. They're a lot more sort of feeling centered, and so when they can feel like the benefits and the advantage that you're going to give them with this offer meet their specific needs, then they'll take action. And again, we'll talk a little bit about how that shows up in content copy. And the final are called competitive buyers, and these are the buyers who are really motivated by a deadline. And so many of us are in a situation where I'm interested, but really it takes that last minute, like this thing is closing, it will not be available. And so there needs to be the aspect of definite closure on the promotion or the offer. And you'll find that a lot of people will actually be activated by that and be able to take advantage of your offer at that point. So the whole point here is that each of these work together in a sequence. In this sequence, number one, spontaneous, and that shows up with an announcement of something new or something big or something unprecedented or something that is secret or something that is an offer that you've never made before, right? Or an offer that you're never going to make again, right? And many of you have seen these kinds of promotions. It doesn't have to be crazy, Phil, I can't believe my accountant's going to, all that kind of jazz. But it can definitely be, hey, we're coming to the end of the year, and there is, opportunity, and I want to make a special, I want to do something special, etc. But it needs to be, it needs to have its own kind of announcement container. Second, methodical, it really becomes an FAQ. So the email itself becomes like, okay, let's talk about all of the different questions that you would have and all the concerns that you might have. And here's where we get an opportunity to actually meet each objective or each objection, that they might have. And then the third, again, followed in that third day, is the humanistic, which is really oriented around a testimonial or story, where we're actually, or stories, right? It can be multiple stories, where we're actually connecting the dots, from what we're offering to the human outcomes, and how it actually impacts our customers' lives or businesses. And again, this now becomes that more touchy-feely component of this email sequence. And then finally, competitive is really about recapping. Spontaneous, this is a special offer, here's, you've got answers to your questions, the stories are proven, but now there's a deadline, and you need to take action or you're going to miss out. So that's how that goes. That's the main parts. Then the fifth part is, and I'll share this in the basic timeline. I just walked through this timeline for you. The fifth part is that once the promotion of the offer closes, then you send back out an opportunity for people who maybe were not ready to take advantage of the offer to join the wait list, which gives you then and again, many of you have been on this and experienced a wait list experience. It really does prime the pump for your next promotion or your next engagement. Customers who put themselves on a wait list are I don't know the exact statistic, but it's demonstrably higher. They have a much higher propensity to actually convert in the near future. So it's it's a great strategy to actually tee up future sales as well. So that's kind of how it works. Again, this particular strategy can be used, like I said, anytime for any reason. Breck and I were talking about this the other day. I mean, it could be National Tic Tac Day, and whatever, right? You can come up with a promotion to to connect to an event or like a holiday or a personal event, like, hey, we just got a dog, or our kids are going off to college, or whatever, right? I mean, it can be anything, any reason to have a promotion to reach out to your customers. Okay. So that's how the program works, and how it would work for Black Friday. And again, I'll pause for questions if you have them. But how it would work for Black Friday is, here you can see actually on this slide. And by the way, I'll make this deck available with through Breck. You guys can use it at will. But starting Wednesday, you start with email number 1, and that rolls through Sunday. Then what you do is on Sunday, you actually, for non-responders, you actually tweak the offer and send just 2 emails, one on Monday and one on Tuesday, which would then follow up. So and ideally, the way that you would tweak the offer is that you would shift out some of the bonuses, or the easiest way to do it is to take the bonuses and make them the core offer, and the core offer your bonuses. It's kind of an interesting strategy, but it has worked. It's been proven to work. So and that's how that would flow for you, right? So just a couple of reference points for you. What has to happen and what should happen, as a kind of a sequence, is you obviously need to make sure that your messaging is aligned to your audience, right? And that you are what you're offering is meaningful and important and is desired by your audience at some level. Then you need to craft that irresistible offer. And then I'm going to share this with you, but you find some way to create the content. And of course, AI is fantastic for this, but getting the prompts right is can sometimes be a challenge. I don't know if you guys have spent much time with. Hopefully you have, but AI is brilliant, but it but sometimes if you don't give it the right prompts, it'll come back with, it'll either plagiarize or outright fabricate, and not be accurate. So I use a tool, and I'll share with you. I can work with you if you guys like to do this. I use a tool called Bucket.io. You guys can access Bucket.io on your own. It's a subscription, but this tool has a built-in AI tool that will create a messaging blueprint, and this is something you guys could use in the rest of your marketing, by the way. So once you craft this messaging blueprint, it can be a multi-use tool for all of your marketing. Then create through again with AI an irresistible offer that actually matches the what the market is looking for. So it's pretty cool to be able to go out and actually see what the objections are, and what the what other components of an offer might be interesting and useful to actually convert customers. And then finally, we can use the tool to actually craft each of the 4 messages, the core 4 messages, at least craft a first draft that you then could edit and then send out with your own email systems. So it's pretty easy. This tool can actually do all of this. We can actually walk through this entire process in about 3 to 4 hours. It takes a little time because there's some things you have to think through, and some of the inputs you need to bring to the table, but the prompts and how to get the output right are already built. You don't have to, we have to create that. And at the end, we can actually craft multiple versions of this. So you could even A/B test, multiple versions, literally in hours rather than days or weeks. And literally you don't have to hire, another agency or a creative team or copywriters, to craft this for you. So that if you'd like to, we can definitely talk about how I could help support you in that. Like I said, just a few hours, probably just a few $100, from a cost perspective, but but I can definitely help you with that. Or, you can, I might even be able to get you guys, a discount code to Bucket.io. I should have thought about that before I got on the call here, but we can, if you're interested, we can connect and go from there. So that's the overarching strategy. You've got my contact information. I just wanted to share that with you. I when I heard it, I thought it was fantastic. I actually implemented it for another client of mine just a couple of weeks ago. It's a coaching program, and they sell a $10,000 coaching certification program. They sent it out to about 2,000 people. They got nearly 20, it was 17, 18, 19 responses, somewhere in the neighborhood. There's a couple that were, they were already talking to, but and they converted 5. So they made about $50,000 in a week, that they had not expected to execute this program. So just something to think about. Your results may vary, but the strategy is proven, and you can use it on your own, or I can help you execute. So that's what I got.
Awesome. I'm glad you told that success story with that first client, because there's going to be many more too. And you and I, Colin, talked about the partner in my roundtables that we promoted a new product for him that he was launching, and we did that strategy of, there's limited people who could get it. So he has a new product that goes into pharmacies. But right now they're just ramping up on production, and so they can only manage fulfillment for 300 locations to start with, and then they'll ramp up their manufacturing to be able to get it to others. And so we promoted that for a couple of weeks on my community pharmacy roundtables, and then he launched at the last national conference we were at last week down in Orlando, Florida. And in the first day of the conference, he got his 300 stores signed up, and the rest had to go on a waiting list. I mean, there's that so much power in that takeaway that, hey, you might miss the opportunity here. And the very first day, he had his 300 pharmacies signed up, and then everybody else went on the waiting list. So as soon as they do ramp up their production, they'll be able to do the fulfillment for those others as well. Amazing strategies. So questions for Colin?
Doesn't have to be about the email strategy. It could be about marketing in general.
Yeah. Armand?
So like with the email strategy you use, are you using like Go Higher Level or Active Campaign, or do you have was it just going to be Bucket.io that you have your platform that you're working off of?
Yeah, Bucket.io is the platform. It's kind of like a funnel builder, but it actually has this AI built into it. And it does not do email distribution. So the actual email distribution, the output of this program would be to, give you text files that then you could use with your whatever email distribution platform that you're currently using. And yeah, it obviously, it creates a text-based email, right? And then if you wanted to add in, make it an HTML email with graphics and whatnot, you'd have to do that on your own. Or I can actually help connect you with a resource that could help you do that. But I personally don't do that. Does that answer your question, Armand?
Yeah. I got another question. So then how do you keep the what kind of things you're doing to keep it from going to spam? So I mean, that is always the biggest challenge from what I've seen. You put together a great email, it goes in the spam folder, and it's like, all right, well, oh well.
Yeah. Well, so ideally, right, you're sending this promotion to your existing list. So, ideally they've already, they're getting your newsletter or, regular communication from you maybe. So you maybe already warmed up and you're already in their, in their inbox. If not, right, then you go through the process of, warming up your, your et cetera. But the big thing here, and by the way, this tool actually will spit out great subject line and from line. So a lot of times, getting past the spam is about how well we approach the from and the subject line. So you need to test it and work it Yeah.
Okay.
There's no easy answer, Armand. I'm sorry. I wish there were.
Well, I'm sure, I mean, I've dealt with it, so I get it, so.
Who else?
Damar, you have hands up?
Yes, sir. So Colin, really two questions related to why Bucket.io overall, the other type of prompt technology or AI technology. And then also just to get I assume that you're also doing the Ask method program, and just your thoughts about that.
Yeah. So you can listen, I just gave you the strategy. So you could literally go to ChatGPT or any other AI tool that you're using and bang this stuff out. And I'm not trying to sell Bucket, just so you know. I don't get a commission or anything. So it's I'm just telling you about a tool that I have found that seems working. So they have developed already a whole series of prompts, deep depth prompts that actually have been designed to create the best extraction of content from AI. So that's that. But literally, you can use any tool you want. You could take this strategy and write them yourself. I mean, it's really not rocket science, right? So, I mean, the real magic is really in, and the shift is in those four, shifting to those four buyer types rather than just a general message to everybody all the time. Okay, so that's that. And then my experience with the Ask method so far is really, really good. Super high level content, great tool. So Bucket.io itself I'm finding it really a helpful tool.
I'm guessing Professor Paul has some ideas on AI.
Probably.
Well, okay. So I did this in Breck's pharmacy group yesterday, because Breck just dumps all this information out, and me writing and reading my writing, that I think I failed penmanship a long time ago. So I just type in stuff into ChatGPT as Colin was saying the topics, and I've just shared the chat, which you can save and then ask further. And it's interesting how Chat kind of elaborates on stuff, and then Colin says stuff, and it is an order of things. And as he said, you can put it in there. Now, Colin's going to do a far better job of then implementing all of those ideas and putting it into play, but it kind of gives you an idea of what all is required and such. And so, you struggle sometimes with things. Okay, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I need more? But it's a great tool. And again, you just gotta, it's about the prompt, and it's about typing the right things in. So I learned a ton of stuff, and hopefully with this you can add furthermore. And then, as I put in at the end, if you're going, I no longer know what to ask, well, just call and email Colin and saying, hey, what about this?
It was a lot of fun reading. It was a lot of fun reading the recap of my meeting yesterday, because you take for granted when you're speaking to a specific industry that they know all of the acronyms that are used. It took me probably a month to learn all of the acronyms in community pharmacy when I first started. There's NCPDP and NABPs and DIR, and that was the funny one, was the what AI came up with, and it was accurate to the most part. Some of the things about ServeRx and weren't exactly on point, but it was a good starting point to then investigate and look into it more. But yeah, it was really fun to recap that. So I look forward to reviewing this recap.
And you do find out about, what does it mean? Wait a minute, what is it saying about me, or what? So
yeah,
lots of things that we want to fix along the way.
Patrick,
how you doing? That was really interesting. And 4 sections. There's a lot more to learn, of course, but you mentioned convincing. Did I pick that up correctly? Convincing. Well, I have a bit of an argument going on mentally about convincing. I don't try and convince anybody, because that is bordering on selling. and which is okay. Selling is okay, but it's a person convinced against their will is not convinced at all. That kind of standpoint. So what I try to do is engage in misunderstandings and clarifications and misunderstandings, and I'm finding that is better. Now, can you open that one up a little bit?
Sure, sure. I totally agree with you. The word convince, right, can be construed as manipulative, and absolutely right. Anytime we attempt to convince a prospect to do something that is not in their best interest, or that is not that they don't want to do, then it becomes unethical, in my opinion. The difference here is that, and if you think about your own personal experience, in a lot of cases, in fact, we just had a question a minute ago from Damar about the ask method. So there's a whole practice and a whole tool set within this concept of the ask method that maybe Damar is thinking about. And what the information that I presented today maybe helped him answer a question that convinced him that it's the right thing for him to do. So it's being there at that moment and giving them giving your prospect an experience that answers that question, or that moves them from the state of uncertainty to a state of certainty. And the other thing I would say here is, in business, and I think a lot of times, especially small business people, we shy away from the concept of selling, and I think it's not necessarily that we have to be overly aggressive or try to like you just said, convince somebody to do something they don't want to do. It's rather helping. Our job is to help somebody make a decision. Is it a yes or a no, right? And somehow, if you're on my list, right, then what I want you to do is make a decision. And this is the best salespeople in the world are totally fine if you say no. In fact, there's a whole and this is a whole different philosophy. There's a whole philosophy called go for the no, right? I mean, you actually are going out there and measuring the number of no's that you get, and the more no's you get, that's the measure of success. And surprisingly, sales tend to follow, and sales that stick, by the way, sales with people who are really excited about. Because if you're really helping that customer solve a problem, then you really want them, in their best interest, to make a decision, yes or no, right? So anyway, I don't know if that answers.
I'd like to add to that, and when we might have come across somebody where the timing wasn't right for them, and but look, I say to people, look, what if we put a pin in it? Look, the timing is wrong.
Sure.
Are you interested in putting a pin in it? Will you decide when we could connect again? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
Yeah.
So they're still in contact. We're not saying to them, look, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Will you get out of my way?
Oh,
that terrible, inhumane stuff altogether. No dignity at all in it.
No, you wouldn't do that in business at all. But on this offer, it's okay to say yes or no. And like you just said, let's put a pin in it is a no. And that's fine. Yeah. So let's put a pin in it, come back. That's great. This offer is not for you. That's fine, right? It's the old not this, not now, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Lee.
Yes, thank you. Colin, thank you. I took notes, by the way. I appreciate it a lot. Hope you're well.
Hey, Lee. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. I'm thinking about something in particular that I might be able to use your help with. But tell me about in the funnels, what is the catch? I mean, how many people do you catch each time? So if let's say you're doing I think it's 5 emails, how many people do you need to feed into it to get one out of the funnel? So how does the funneling down process work to get you, let's just say, one sale?
That is more importantly, how does it be profitable? I mean, is that maybe one of the questions?
Yeah,
I mean, how do
that's it. Yeah.
makes you money.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is personalized to you and your particular offer and conversion cycle. But I tend to look at, and this is the old law of averages scenario, right? If you take 10x, right? So 10 times, so if you want, I have to do the numbers in my head, but if you want 100 people in the top of your funnel, you got to go at least to 1,000 people, right? And that's the very top of the funnel. And then each successive, you're probably going to get, a tenth. And as you get lower, you might be able to increase that to, a 20 or 30% would convert to the next step. In this scenario, like the success story I put out there, they sent to 2,000 people. They got about 220 to respond, and they converted 5. And but again, it was a high ticket offer, $10,000. So the economics made it more. Of course, it was a couple $100 to get the emails put together and some time, and then their email costs. So virtually no cost. I don't know if that answered your question, but for you, we could walk through the specifics of your math and figure out what would make sense for you.
Yeah, that might be worthwhile. I appreciate that. We should have a conversation about that. By the way, my whole program is about 4 or 5 months down the road, so there's plenty of time to put this together.
Build it.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Good. Well,
you could talk to Paul, and he could jump into AI and generate a whole load of stuff for you. This guy is magic.
yeah, worthwhile for sure. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? And I know I'd put some breakout rooms together, but the conversation was going so well in here. I just wanted to keep us all in the same room. So I want to make sure that your questions get answered. And obviously, always welcome to set up a one-to-one with Colin to get into more depth and more details. Paul?
Well, this reminds me of it's how do you become a millionaire? And you can sell one item for $1 million that somehow doesn't cost you much. Or on the reverse side, you need to find, 100,000 people to give you $10. Come on, how hard is that, right?
Yeah.
And surely we have something that we can shove into somebody's face for $10 that doesn't cost us much. And it's that equation of, really almost like the old adage of how many doors are you going to knock on? I don't want to go knock on any doors.
Yeah.
I don't want to go ring any more doorbells.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
it's that math thing, Darn it.
So before we wrap up here, I don't know if I know I've got a message in the chat that one of our newest members here had another call. So I don't know if Kelly, if you're available to come off mute and introduce yourself. We were going to do a breakout, but let's at least introduce the new member here, and you're always welcome to come back and join with us. I met Kelly, it's been a year and a half ago, maybe, and she actually has had me on her podcast. She does some amazing work here in the Phoenix area. So we had the pleasure of actually meeting her face to face and going down to a recording studio, and being a part of her podcast, and so wanted her to introduce herself.
Thanks, Breck. Yeah, I have another call, but thanks for having me on. I loved hearing what Colin has, marketer at heart. Been an entrepreneur for 20-something years, and we have a team now to duplicate business owners. Sounds crazy, but being able to be the second brain or the project manager or whatever the business owner needs when they need it has been so rewarding to be able to do in the Phoenix area. And actually we have clients all over the country. But Breck, loved having you on the show, and now it's on all major platforms. So hopefully you get to, when you Google Breck's name, you'll find him everywhere now, since he's been on the radio show and podcast. So that's fun, exciting things coming up with that, but love being in the group, and thanks, Colin, for all you shared. It's he's right on target.
Yep. And KLM is your company, and obviously knows a lot about marketing herself.
Thanks, Breck.
If you haven't done a one-on-one, I see that Cindy Gordon, another superstar in the group here, is a shout out that Kelly is a powerhouse. So thanks for that endorsement. Yeah, so all right. Bob is I know he was having connective issues. I don't know, it looks like he had to drop out. But yeah, I always like to give him the last word. Of course,
Do you have 2 minutes for me, Breck?
Oh, absolutely.
Hey guys, I just want to throw this out. I heard we're now tied up with presentations out till after Thanksgiving, so I just wanted to jump in here. I don't know. I think it was Paul that complained about when I was talking about the you can save on your taxes. You know, that he wanted to get into a place where he was paying $50 to $100,000 in taxes, and that you all I think it was. Okay, so I just found, okay, and we are now marketing. There is it is called the SETC. It is the self-employed tax credit. Okay, we all know what ERTC is, right? For businesses, if you had W-2 employees, hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is for gig workers. It is for individuals. It is for companies that are entrepreneurs, okay, that have a Schedule C income. They can get up to $32,200 back into their pocket as individuals. And I just wanted to bring that. It goes away on April the 15th is the only reason why I brought it up today and wait. But I thought I knew about all of this stuff, but it was been there since ERC started, but nobody's been using it because it's available because it's small dollars. But we now have it on a completely electronic. Some of you guys like Todd and like Todd and Lee and Phil and Jeff and folks like that have if you received W-2 if you received 1099 income for 2020 and 2021, there's dollars out there sitting there for you. Okay, and if you market to these people, we can set you up. We have a contract directly with the company, the accounting firm that does this. We can set you up, and you can offer it to your clients. So I just wanted to throw that out there because if I have to wait till December, we're timing down. So I just wanted to throw it out. Pardon me for pushing in there. It's just it was a timing issue.
Appreciate no. I appreciate that. It's always good, and obviously you would welcome any one-on-ones to get more information about that. So you all know how to contact Richard on that. What I was going to mention is I always love to give Bob the last word here because this is his platform that we use to all connect here. But another good opportunity for you if you haven't taken advantage of that is he loves to do podcast interviews as well. So if you haven't taken the opportunity to do a podcast interview with Bob, it's another way to get more recognition, get like what Kelly mentioned, you do those Google searches are so important, and the more times that you're being promoted out there in the internet space, the better. And also mycity.com. You need to have a profile on there too. Totally free, doesn't cost you anything to do either of those. But set up your profile on mycity.com is another way to get more traction as well. So, but appreciate everybody being here. We had a great group today, and we'll keep growing this. It's always certainly welcome for you all to invite people to participate. I need to get a little more vigilant about sending the invitation through setting up when we set up the event on LinkedIn. We always post this mastermind referral group as an event. If you have accepted that invitation, you can then go in and make invites to your connections on LinkedIn. And so imagine if we all were sending out 10 or 12 invites of connections, how big this group could grow into. So I welcome that. Anyone that wants to help, especially for the days that you're going to be presenting, man, get all of your connections there so that you have that much more of an audience. Patrick.
Breck, I was just wondering, does your shirt light up in the dark? It's
This
a very
shirt?
unusual. It's a very unusual shirt, but does it light up in the dark? Would be.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, great shirt.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the gig. Wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's always great to see you all and people that haven't been here for a while. I know Scott has been taking care of his mom, and so he's in and out quite a bit. But it's great to see you again, my buddy friend there. So
I think
we missed
if
you
rub-
yesterday. You didn't present yesterday. I had to cover your part.
I know you always do a great job with that too. If you rub your head, does the shirt then light up?
Probably that's what I need. I haven't been doing that. I need to
That's
do
it.
that.
Please,
My-
no more hair jokes, please.
I know. Every time we line up for a picture, I always make that comment. How's my hair? So,
Is the
but yeah, I
glare
appreciate
okay?
everybody being here today, and invite a friend or 12 next week. Let's see how big we can grow this group. All right,
Thank
everyone. Take care. Have a great rest of your
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
so much to Colin for your presentation. It was spot on, and can't wait to kind of package the deal together with this other product that we're going to be testing real soon. All right, take care, everyone.